She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. You know, on this day, Tuesday, we like to talk about tips for your business and or your career to help move it forward. And again, not according to what society says, but according to what you want out of your life. So we've got some questions that we wanted to answer. If your business is in that place where there seems to be uncertainties, if you are kind of like Jason Cyphers, who writes this: we are flower farmers. There are a lot of uncertainties in flower farming. Man, wouldn't you love to see a flower farm? Wouldn't that just be gorgeous? He says, how do you go about securing a business in an uncertain line of work? Well, friend, first of all, I am not God and I am not a flower farmer. I have no idea what the challenges are from flower farming. And I would imagine that weather plays a part. You know, different seasonal changes plays a part. You know that there's some years, I know that right here in Texas, you know, for the last 2 winters, we didn't have a winter. Winter skipped right over Texas. It stayed a continuous spring from fall, because we get 2 springs in Texas, at least where we live. And so we had this really super long fall forever. The trees were still changing in January and in February from September, right, all the way through. So it causes me to think about, well, yeah, that had to make a difference in farming for some people. And depending on where you're farming, what's happening with weather changes and these 100-year floods or these 100-year whatevers that are taking place. So honestly, Jason, I am not God. I don't know anything about flower farming, but what I do know is this, that when your business is dependent on uncertainties. All businesses, honestly, have uncertainties. But in your case, where yours, I don't know, you probably have greenhouses. You probably are doing something to secure yourself from whatever the elements are. But the fact is that when you see that there is a problem, you're going to have to come up with some different solutions. And so asking various different types of experts could help. But in all reality, I got to tell you what I've always fallen on. I've always fallen on God. I've always turned to Him to ask Him what I should be doing, where I should be going, how should I be doing it. I want my business to be completely dependent on the one who controls the entire universe, and also knowing that there's going to be some good years and there's going to be some not so good years. And so diversifying our business was an important thing for us so that we didn't have all of our eggs in one basket. And it wasn't so much about diversifying the business as it was diversifying our assets. So a lot of people make the mistake of using their business, which is where cash flows come from, to be the thing that they hinge all their future on, and to be the thing that they hinge their retirement on, the thing that they hinge their current livelihood on, instead of realizing, hold on a second, I need to be doing something with this cash flow. So do something with the cash flow where you're able to actually invest into other income-producing assets that maybe are not seasonal, into some other income-producing assets that maybe don't take so much physical labor and so much physical time. Maybe you begin to start gaining an education in investing, where on just a few hours a week of learning and several years that it takes to be able to learn, and that you have a certain portion of the money that you're making as a flower farmer that you have set aside to generate more cash. Maybe it's investing into real estate and having rental properties, or becoming a bank for other people to invest into rental properties. And so if you know that you have a business that has uncertainties, understand this, you're not alone. Most businesses have uncertainties. Nobody has a crystal ball that tells them that, oh, things are going to be. No, nobody has that. Every business has weaknesses, and every business has strengths. The ones who really win are the ones who do not depend solely on the cash flow from their business, but instead they use a portion of that cash flow to diversify their assets and create other income from other sources. Not so much of it being about so much of your time, but that you get your money growing for you, which is why I think it is like so ridiculously important for you to tap into things like what my husband teaches. He has an app, actually. It's the #1 wealth app on Android as well as an iPhone, and it's called Wealth Builder. You can find him at truewealthformula.com or wealthbuilder.com. Hans Johnson is his name. I love what he teaches. He teaches exactly what he's done with our family, how he manage our finances. Why? Because our business is even uncertain. How? Because it was largely dependent on, me talking, right? What happens if something happens to me? Then there goes the business, right? So every business has weaknesses. Every business has threats. And he saw the writing on the wall of the weakness and the threat against our future and livelihood if it was dependent on solely me being able to talk, being able to speak, being able to write books, being able to produce content. And so this is when he diversified our assets. He began to invest into things like real estate. He began to learn how to make trades in the stock market without losing all that we've made, because we made that mistake 18 years ago, like lost it all in a day. And so he teaches this final copy about how to really hedge yourself, protect yourself from the elements of uncertainties that's happening in all the investing world, the uncertainties that happen in real estate, the uncertainties of our government, the uncertainties of business, the uncertainties of people, the uncertainties of the marketplace itself. How do you hedge? How do you set yourself up for success in those things? You really got to get in touch with my husband. You really, really do. He only works with a small number of people, but Jason Cyphers, I'm telling you, you definitely need to be a part of his monthly coaching in his class because, if you know what your known uncertainties are, then you definitely have to work in such a way that is really going to set you up and your family up for success moving forward. So again, that's Wealth Builder. It's a Wealth Builder app. It's inside of, you can get it on Android, you can get it on your iPhone. It's the #1 wealth app in both of those platforms. So get a hold of it. His name is Hans Johnson. He has the True Wealth Formula. I can't recommend it enough. I am so blessed that he was able to see uncertainty and the weaknesses and define those of our current business model, and then to figure out how do we make sure and protect ourselves moving forward. So you can do that. So the point is you're not going to fix the uncertainties. You're not. But you're going to find a solution for them outside of perhaps your current business and the cash flow from your current business so that, you win even when you're losing. Hello? You catching what I'm throwing at you? This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue with more as soon as you check this out. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today. Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So in these times where we have no idea what's going to be taking place in the market, right? We have no idea what the government's going to release next or what kind of bills are going to be passed, how that affects our business life, our career life, how it affects jobs. I mean, I know you probably saw the show last week about robotics and technology that is automating everything and is supposed to do away with 800 million jobs by 2030. Whether you believe that's going to happen or not, I know this, a lot of jobs are going away, whether it's 800 million or not. I know that inside of the next decade, we're going to see all kinds of crazy things that are going to happen. And so there is uncertainty in the workplace. How do you solve that? How do you fix that? I want to read you a question that I think relates to this by Eric Schlabach that says this: how do I stay focused on one thing at a time versus seeing everything I have to do and trying to do it all at once? Are you now looking, and similar to Jen, who says, how do I balance looking ahead and setting goals for the future while staying present and in the moment, right? I feel like these two things are connected, especially to talking about the uncertainty of what's taking place in the world today. Like how do I stay focused? And when I look ahead and I see, wow, like, geez, what's going to happen when, like, for example, when 800 million jobs perhaps, or however many of the millions of jobs are going to go away because of automation. So how do I stay present? How do I stay focused now? And as well as be able to plan for the future and be wise about what perhaps is coming down the pike? That is a really good and important question, because sometimes we can be too far in the future that we are not taking appropriate steps in our present and not staying focused in our present. In fact, I have to tell you a quick story. My husband was really, really focused on what was the doom and gloom that was ahead and everything that was happening inside of our country, and really like taking precautions to protect us and wanting us to grow food and making sure that we were armed. And I mean, he really, it had a lot to do with some of the things that he was watching and listening to, as well as you could just see the writing on the wall, right? You can see the instability when you've got $21 trillion worth of debt as a nation, and, tens of trillions of dollars in debt for consumer debt. You could see the hostility that's rising up in the land, right? You could just see the writing on the wall that things are changing, things are shifting and moving, and it's not necessarily good shifts and good changes. And so he spent a little too much time focused on the scary stuff that was out there, and then having a hard time on figuring out, how do I live here and now? And I really admire my husband. And I know I just mentioned him again in the last portion that we were talking about, but I really admire him because he had to come to a place where he needed to be content with the now and yet be wise about the future. And so to balance and actually live in harmony of taking precautions for the future and planning for the future, yet that could not supersede living in contentment here and now. Because when you live too much in the future, you're robbing yourself of the beautiful glory that you're actually living in right now. And you're missing out opportunity with your family. You're missing out on opportunity even in business because your mind might be a little too focused about what is ahead. And so what's important is to be grateful for today and to focus in on what is today. And maybe on a monthly basis, spending some time to reflect on where you want to be in the future and making sure that what you're working on today helps to get you towards the future. But it doesn't mean I have to be taking one gigantic leap every single day. It's little by little, friend. It's little by little that you're going to move your life to where you want it to be versus thinking, okay, I've got to just abandon ship now and move to a foreign country and go try to figure out a new life. Now, that might be what you choose to do. And if you and your family are on board with it and your staff is on board with it, then so be it. Go for it. If you feel like that's the urge and that's what you're supposed to do, then do that. But if that's not what you feel, and you feel like you feel compelled to be responsible about what is ahead, then just make sure that you're not losing sight of what is now. Because here's what great wisdom says to us. Don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worries of its own. It does. That look at the lilies of the field. They don't worry about how they're going to be clothed, but they're perfectly clothed and beautifully clothed. And even King Solomon in all of his glory and wonder was not clothed as beautiful as that. That a sparrow falls, and yet the Creator knows. So today, contentment. Contentment can spur innovation. Contentment brings peace and humility. Contentment means you're working diligently and working hard, but your life is not being controlled by the work. When you bring contentment to work every single day, you bring a light hip in your step, a glide in your stride. You bring peace into striving situations. When you have contentment, you're not controlled or manipulated by the future or controlled and manipulated by today. But you're living by the compass of contentment instead of the compass of fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of the future, the fear of the uncertainties. Listen, friend, all of us are going to have uncertainties for the rest of our lives. So it's the man or the woman in the marketplace as well as in the home that has the ability to have contentment be their compass. And therefore, they are not manipulated by external circumstances. When you've got contentment as your compass, you do not have what somebody said to be something that is your compass, but instead, you know who you are. You know that tomorrow is already taken care of. You know that the many, many thousands of tomorrows that you may or may not have are also already taken care of. It kind of shuts the mouth of uncertainty. And you live with excellence, with diligence, giving it your best shot, from contentment every single day. And this, my friend, I believe brings success. I really do. I really, really do. Listen, I was a former homeless woman, and as a former homeless woman, I get being afraid. And I get, being afraid that your car that you're living in is about to be repossessed. I lived there. I once was that 27 plus years ago. I also know what it's like to come to this place of contentment, to no longer be pushed in either direction, but to give it just my best shot today. And whatever the results were of my best today were good enough for today. Outlined in this book, First Steps to Wealth. If you do not have your free copy of this, we'd love to give it to you. If you call our office right now, 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. We'd love to give you either a downloaded copy or the free copy. You pay the shipping to get it to your house. It's yours. Start following what this says so you can deal with the uncertainties of the future. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more as soon as you see this. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word future to 484848. Get started today. Text the word future to 484848. Secure your future now. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.linda, LINDAPAIGE.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself.
Prior to Dani Johnson, I was struggling in my business. I was drowning in debt. Me and Crystal weren't doing so well either. In the last 21 months since our first event, I paid off $36,000. We actually got engaged, which was the best part, and my business made $90,000 last year. And I've given over $5,000 to orphans this year as well. So I can tell you that this has changed my life, but I want to recommend that you come to this event and learn as much as you can from Dani Johnson.
I attended a First Steps to Success event, and after the skills I learned there, I started a home business. I've made over 5 figures in 1 month. Actually, I've generated over $90,000, which is way more than I ever did working full-time at my other job. So we have increased our income, paid off debt. More than that, though, we no longer have that pressure. It's just been such a blessing to my family. So, everything might be awesome in your life, but if you want to increase your income, pay off debt, improve relationships, live the life you've always wanted to live, I suggest you get to DaniJohnson.com and register for the next event.
After plugging into Dani Johnson, we made a covenant that we would either move forward together or we would go our separate ways. And in a matter of days, we sold his car, we bought our engagement ring. 5 months later, we were married. We paid for our wedding in cash because of the business skills that we had also learned from Dani. And we've since then more than quadrupled our income. And we've been together now, married for over a year.
And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me.
Prior to attending my First Steps to Success, we were drowning in debt. We had lost a business. My second marriage was going down the toilets. I had no time and relationship with my son, and I was just a mess, and I was burning out fast. After attending First Steps and been to a few events, we have a thriving business that's gone international. We have paid off 65% of our debt. We are not just making money, but we're saving money, and we're learning how to grow money. I have got a marriage that's gone from barely surviving to thriving, and I now have 2 children with whom I have so much time. I am not burnt out, stressed out, and all I can say is you've just got to get here.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Friend, the bottom line is this. Sometimes the choices that we make every single day produce a result in our life that we're really not happy with. And then we have a tendency of blaming the outside circumstances. We have a tendency of blaming the results that we got as the cause for our unhappiness. We've been talking about today the uncertainty of the future. Whether you have a business that has uncertainties, and by the way, if you don't know what your business uncertainties are, you have your head in the clouds or in the sand. Every business has weaknesses. My business has weaknesses. Your business has weaknesses. It's good to know what those are, but it's also good not to be controlled by them. It's to find solutions for them. You're not going to fix them. There's just some things that you must accept. These are our weaknesses. These are our strengths. We're going to focus on our strengths. We're going to get really good at these things, and we're going to hedge whatever our weaknesses are. Well, sometimes we can do, say, act on something that causes uncertainty in our future. Let me give you a clue. We have L. Lee who writes, I find that I have a hard time enjoying my job. How do I make it fun for myself? Eric Russell writes something different. How do I stay on task when it's boring? Well, guess what, friend? If you think your job is boring, and if you feel like you have to make it fun for you, ooh, friend, I want to ask you the question, how did you get there? How did you get to the place where now you think your job is boring and you have a hard time focusing? Again, I find that I have a hard time enjoying my job. Okay. Eric says this, how do I stay on task when it's boring? Friend, I found this thing a long time ago that really, really impacted my life about 20 years ago. Like it was like a sledgehammer that hit me in the head. And it is my answer to both of these questions. In everything you do it as unto your Creator, not as unto man. So this whole thing of needing to find a job that is fun for you, or that how do I make my job fun for me? You're the only one that can answer that question. I can't answer that question for you. And Eric, if you're bored, and by the way, that was for L. Lee, but for Eric, if you're bored on the job, what did you do with the beginning? Like what changed? When you first got that job, you were happy, you were satisfied, you were content, you were excited, you were so blessed that you actually had the opportunity to work and make money. Have you gotten focused on something else versus the blessing that you've had? Here's another thing that ancient wisdom says concerning work, that whatever it is that your hands can find satisfaction in your work. Find satisfaction in your work, which means that there is satisfaction in our work. The problem is we put a focus on the wrong part of our work. Okay, so let's use your car, for example. Have you ever washed it? Did you wash it more in the beginning when it was new than you are washing it now? Did you take better care of it in the beginning when it was new than you are now? It's the same with relationships. In the beginning, we seem to be on our best behavior. The longer we're around each other, we tend to not be on our best behavior. We tend not to put our best foot forward. We tend not to use our best people skills. We tend to get lazy. We tend to open the door to boredom instead of finding satisfaction in our work. You see, it's not the work itself that brings satisfaction. It is what we do with our work that brings satisfaction. So it's like this. Why is it that when we have a new car, we treat the new car better than we treat the old one? Why? Because it's new. And we put diligence to work when something is new. We take better care. We are more diligent. We're more hardworking. We bring more excellence. We have more rules in the beginning, don't we? Like there's no McDonald's in my car. No one's going to drink in my brand new car, right? Because you don't want the smell of that fast food in your car, right? So you want to keep that new car smell for as long as you possibly can, right? So in the beginning, we have diligence and excellence in taking care of something. But as time goes on, we start to get laxed in the care. And when we get laxed is when we get bored. You see, the satisfaction comes from that hard work. The satisfaction comes from that pride of ownership and doing good and being responsible. We all feel good when we're being responsible. We all feel good when we've worked hard to clean something or to organize something. We step back and we go, man, check that out. It's all glistening. It all looks awesome. So if you found yourself bored in your work and you have found yourself in work that you think is not fun, it's clearly because you are focused on the wrong thing. Focus on what brings joy. What brings joy? Having an attitude that affects everybody else who's bored in their work? How about this? How can you make an impact and encourage the people that you're working with? How can you set an example for those that you're working with on how to skip through the day with the right attitude? That you're actually adding to the environment, that you're bringing that fun-loving personality of yours to bring laughter to people, to bring encouragement to people, to bring life to people, that you actually are showing through your demonstration the care and love that you bring, the excellence and the diligence that you bring, and that you're the shining example about how to lead by example. You're the shining example about how everybody should be working in that place. Why don't you make it a goal to make an impact in the workplace? Make it a goal that you are one that people are talking about because of how you bring honor, how you bring respect, how you bring laughter, how you bring joy, how you bring a special little something into that warehouse job or into that technology job or whatever the job is that you're now calling boring. What about bringing gratitude in that place? What about singling out a few different people that seem to get unnoticed and noticing them? What about even setting a goal to remembering people's birthdays, remembering their dog's name? You can make a game out of whatever kind of work it is that you do. You could also make a game at trying to get to know as many customers as you possibly can and reaching out to them. Really, success and satisfaction all comes with what you're focused on. It has nothing to do with the work itself. Because even the exciting work that you used to do that now you think is boring, the only thing that changed was your attitude. This is Dani Johnson. By the way, if you have not got your copy of First Steps to Wealth, make sure you get it. This is free for you. Go to the website, DaniJohnson.com. And if you found that today's program was helpful for you, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with other people. Other people need these kind of work tips to keep them on track or to get them off the wrong track and onto the right track. And I hope that we get to see you live one day at a First Steps to Success live training event. Thanks so much for joining us today. God bless you. Have a great one.